All right, welcome back. This is the video for the DSP strip card. And this is another very simple but effective design that utilizes the beauty of the designer series paper. It lets it speak for itself. And this is a great way to use up scraps. If you have scraps left over after you have designed other cards and you've got little strips and pieces and you're wondering, well, what can I do with all those little strips and pieces? This is the perfect card design for you. So it is just a very simple thick white card base, and then some strips of designer paper, tags, and a piece of ribbon. So in your kit, you're going to find an envelope that has a thick white base in it. It's already scored for you. And you should find 2 tags. I'm going to use something for contrast here so you can see. One of the large detailed floral tags, and then one of the plain hexagon ones. For some reason, I have an inkling in my mind that when I was cutting kits and looking at this card, I missed that we actually layered up the tags in this. So I may have only given you this one, but I'm going to give you an option, and I'm going to explain why you might want this tag, and you have extras of these in your little plastic bag, so you pick one out if you do. The reason being is because when the dies cut this particular large tag, they actually cut a notch into the florals on both sides, and that's so that you can slip this tag in underneath the flowers and nest it. So there is another card project in this month's Craft Day in a Box that is called the Nested Label, and we actually use 2 different colors of labels so that you can see that. But the effect that you can generate is your stamping of your leaves or whatever doesn't have to go over top of the little flowers that are part of the die cut. You can actually sneak them in underneath of it by layering. So there are actually two tags there, and it gives you this sort of double border effect. Okay, I will demonstrate that for you, but you can also, if you just want to remain simple and not do the leaves, you can just use the one tag and just stamp within the area, not touching the floral part of it. Okay, so those are the things you're going to need. 3 white pieces. Then we're going to need some designer series paper. And you can pick and choose what you like from the patterns that you have. Maybe have a quick look through the photos and set aside the sheets of paper that are specifically for the other projects before you just cut randomly. But I think there's 6 or 7 sheets that we never even touched in any of the projects. You have lots to choose from. So the first one is this Night of Navy with the speckles all over, and that's going to be my little strip here. That on the back is this floral pattern, which would be really fun there as well, or you can mix and match as you like. Then we went for one of the mango colored patterns, and that is here on the back of this one. And we are going to be using this for almost a full card front. We need a large piece of this one later on, so that's why there's just a small strip of this color. And then this pattern here, this is the one with the little petal pink flowers on it. It's got a Night of Navy background and the shaded spruce leaves, and on the back side of that is this pinstripe pattern. And then on the inside, yes, we used another little piece of this one. So just those 3. All right, get those out of the way, and then let me get you the measurements. You're going to need your paper trimmer, and we'll trim these out together, okay? All right, paper trimmer. So our piece on the bottom here is a 1/2 inch. And I like doing my small measurements on the right side of my cut line. So there's my 1/2 inch piece. And I also need a 1/2 inch piece for the inside. So I will cut that while I'm here. A 1/2 inch for the inside. Okay. Then we need a 3/4 inch piece of the Mango Melody. Hope I got that right. I think I got that right. 3/4 inch. And then a 2 1/2 inch. I'll do that on this side, obviously. Yeah, let me just get my head in here. I just want to see to make sure I'm doing this right. All right. And that should be it for our trimming. Let's set up our card base now. So it's already scored for you. I still don't have my bone folder. So I'm going to grab another one. And give this a nice burnish with my bone folder. And then let's just line these up here. Oh yes, we have to trim them down a little bit first. I'm sorry. They need to be 5 1/2 inches long to match our 5 1/2 inch card width. The small ones you could trim with scissors if they overhang the end of your card, but I don't think I'm going to try that on this big one. So we'll have that little scrap left over for something. And then let's put all 3 of these in here at the 5 1/2 mark. 5 1/2. Actually, I find it easier to cut up. They'll stay where I've placed them. There. You probably don't want to keep those scraps. They're too small for anything. But who knows? Maybe you have plans for... Okay, I'm just going to dry fit these together here to make sure that I've got this all correct. And I should have 1/8 of an inch on the outside, or the top, I guess it is. And 1/8 of an inch in between. And 1/8 of an inch in between. And 1/8 of an inch on the outside edge again. And you can actually design this card sideways or up and down. And maybe for a bit of variation, I will do an up and down one. Just to show you the way that it can go together. So let's put some glue on the back of my strips. I'm going to do my outside one first. And just going to put it straight onto me so that I can make sure that it is even. All right. Then I'm going to do my Mango Melody strip. And if you've got a key... Oh no, I'm not going to do my Mango Melody strip. Just a second here. I'm going to do the other one. I said I'd do my 2 outside ones first, because then I can get the white space gap between the other 2 even. But I was going to say, if you have a keen eye, you will notice that my strips look ever so slightly different in size between these 2 cards. And that's because when we cut this piece originally, we cut it the wrong size. And so we had to make this one bigger to fill the gap, and we still didn't quite add it all up right. But we got the math right here this time. There. Now I can put this one in between, and I can even out the white space on either side of it so that it looks like it is matched in 1/8 of an inch. There we go. Isn't that pretty? That's pretty just as it is. Yes, put this one on the inside. Right here at the what is going to be my right side, because I'm going to do this one up and down. And I'm just going to leave that same 1/8 white gap on the outside edge of it, just for consistency and look, so that it follows through from the front of the card. Okay, let's set up to do some stamping. Move this up out of the way. And we're going to do our stamping on the inset piece. So I'm going to want my mat, and we're going to go to the stamp set and bring out the outline flowers and the fill for the flowers, and I'm just lining them up so that they are oriented the same way around. Just make that step a little easier for me. And I'll pick them up on a couple of blocks. And then I'm also going to want the thanks. There we are. Will you fit this one? Yep. And then the fill for the leaves. I'll put that on my big block this time. Okay. Let's start with the fill for the leaves in shaded spruce. And I'm going to stamp that off. And that's going to go right off the edge up here like this. And it's going to tuck in under the leaves. And that's how I can do that off the edge without putting the stamp right through the middle of my flowers here. Okay. Then let's do thanks while we have the green ink out. That's just going to go right down here in the middle of the bottom. There we go. And then I want my Mango Melody. And I'm going to do the outline flowers. And they're just going to go on here like this. And what I did is I nested my K in the little loop for the flowers. Okay. And then I'm going to switch to my Petal Pink ink. These colors are all coming from what's in here. They're mimicking what's in this piece of floral paper. Okay. And then forgive me if I get my head in the way. Just want to be able to look straight down. And this is so light. What I'm looking for is the center of the flowers. And I'm getting some really bad shadows from my overhead light, so I might miss. Yeah, I missed a little. That's okay. That's just fine. It looks a little blotchy right now at this minute. I'll bring it up and show you. It's not the best stamping ever, but as it dries, that'll actually become a little bit better. Okay, so that's that. I think we have all of our pieces now. We can start assembling. So you just have to make sure that you tease out the edges of this cut right to the edge, and I found taking my pick tool and just poking it in there and just releasing it out at the edges is a help. And you can also poke out any little pieces that got missed. That one right up to the top flower. And then start with your upper corner. Put it in there, and it should come pretty close to the little stitched line that's in the bigger label. Once you've kind of got it lined up on one end, I'll bring it up here and I'll show you. So see, there's just a tiny little gap between the stitches on this end. Then I'm gonna pinch and hold that end and bend this up and tuck it under this one. And then if you just go back and forth a couple times like that, it'll just slide right in there. You don't have to glue it in or anything. You can if you want to try to get the glue in there, or you could slide a glue dot in between, but you don't really need to. It locks it nicely in place. Okay, so then we need some dimensionals on the back of that to hold it onto the card front. I'm using the minis, but you can use whatever you like. And the reason we're using dimensionals is to add depth, but also because you can place them over top of the gap, and that will also help you stick down the second label, because you can get it right through the back here. So it's not going to slide. There. Just put a few on here and there. All right. Get all those little release papers peeled off and out of the way. Oh, accidentally peeled the whole dimensional off. All right. And right there. Okay. And then we just need to make a bow. And there's the ribbon. So, around we go. Through the hole. It will, it will, it will. There it comes. There. All right. Don't want to chop my fingers off. There, that's not bad. I'm not going to fuss with that any further. Cannot find my nice ribbon scissors, so I'm using my paper snips to try to trim ribbon. And this ribbon frays very easy on the ends. Okay, so we're going to secure that with a glue dot. And I'm just going to roll it just a little and pick her up here. And put my glue dot just off the tag down on the corner here. And stick my ribbon on. And then we need some bling. And I think I will use some more of the yellow colored dots here. And I did one large one. over here on one of the flowers on my right side of my tag, and then I did a couple of the little flowers over here on the left side. And I just noticed that, just for variation, I intended to do it and then forgot, and then in the back of my mind I must have knew I was intending to do it. The large tags are not symmetrical. They actually have two entirely different sort of edges to them. One edge has a little spray that comes around and off the side and comes back and connects, and the other one doesn't have that. So you'll notice between my two cards that the spray is on the top on this one and it's on the bottom on this one, and so that's why the dots look like they're in slightly different position, because they are. There we go. So there is an vertical or portrait version of that card, and horizontal or landscape version of that card. And then finish it off on the inside as you like with some more stamping and some more sentiments, and you can do whatever you like on the inside. There we are. Hope you enjoyed that project.